Hi, I'm Megan.
I'm Selena.
Welcome to One Head, Two Ducks,
a grown-up theater kids podcast.
Today we have another Art Unmasked interview. This time it is with Torrey Russell from Broadway in the Hood, creator and founder of Broadway in the Hood. And for a little disclaimer, we were having some audio and visual issues, and it is not the most perfect interview ever in terms of visual or audio, but we did not want to redo it just because there is so many. He's such a inspiring person, and we wanted to give you its interview in its truest form. So. We hope you will look past
and
any
it's
flaws.
raw beauty.
Raw beauty. We hope you will look past any flaws and that you enjoy his interview. Hi, we're back with another Art Unmasked in our series. We have a very special guest with us today. It is Torrey Russell.
Hey.
And hi, Tori.
What's up? Hello. Super excited to be with you all.
Super excited to have you.
Awesome.
I know Selena knows you, but I'm just meeting you, and I'm just absolutely you.
Well, we're family now. You're welcome. You can come on over and eat and sit at the table, and we can have a blast. You are now family, so welcome.
I mean, I have been internet stalking you for like an entire day, so I guess.
Oh, my goodness. Hopefully you found out some good stuff. We'll talk about the good stuff today. How about that?
There you go.
Now, I have been talking you up, and I am because you are, one of my biggest influencers. Even though we met for a very short time,
sure.
But in that short time, like I was like flabbergasted, jaw dropped. Like this guy is amazing.
Aww.
Just by who you are, what you do, and I was very excited that you even remembered me.
Absolutely.
That made me feel like he
remembers me. Please. You're unforgettable. Unforgettable. Yes.
And a singer, too. So, Tori, please, tell our audience a little bit more about you, who you are as an artist, and a little bit more about your story.
Absolutely. I'm a slave. No. My name is Tori. Like I said, I was born and raised in Norfolk, Virginia. Grew up in a pretty rough neighborhood. For the first time in a few years, I had the opportunity to go back home where I grew up, and I walked my neighborhoods and walked the streets and really had a chance to just reflect on my 46 years of living. And I grew up in a really, really rough neighborhood, and the theater saved my life. When I was in middle school, my middle school walked over to the high school for the performing arts, and I remember sitting down watching a production of Guys and Dolls, and I was like, oh my God, I have to do this. Like, this is what I want to do with my life. I don't care if it's sweeping the stage, or picking up the trash. I don't care what it is. I have to do something as it relates to the arts. And then this specific production of Guys and Dolls had young kids of color in it as well. And so it inspired me. Wow, you can actually, have an opportunity to do this. And so I was failing out in school, like completely making F's in school. And I went to my teacher and I said, please, you have to find a way for me to be a part of this organization. And they said, there's no way, you have to make good grades in high school in order to be a part of this. Well, anyway, I fought with the principal, I fought with my teacher, and they said, fine, if you just make D's, we will go. No, I'm not joking. If you just pull your grades up to a D, then we will talk to the director of the Performing Arts Repertory Company and see if there's any way when you get to high school that you can be a part. Well, they did, and I cried, and I brought my grades up, and I started doing better in school. And the Performing Arts director said, well, there's about 200 kids that are going to be auditioning, and I'm going to make you audition. And even though I was in middle school, I auditioned out of 200 plus kids, only 30 kids made it. And I was one of the few kids, the only kid ever in middle school to make it into the high school for the performing arts. And it was the arts, truly, it was that moment that my life changed when I realized, oh my God, I have a family that actually cares about me. I have people that don't care that I dress crazy and that my hair is crazy and that, I may not smell the best all the time because I grew up with nothing. And so the arts, the theater, and my performing arts repertory company embraced me.
That is
so there you go.
so how you founded a program.
Yes.
This is people. This is the jaw-dropping part of Torrey Russell. I mean, everything is jaw-dropping, but this was like, what? He founded a program called Broadway in the Hood, where it takes underprivileged kids in impoverished neighborhoods and gives them opportunity to do theater. How in the world did you come up with that? And how, even more so, how in the world did you grind and get it done? Like, what?
Wow. Well, it's funny because I'm amazed at how many people across the world know Broadway in the Hood. It blows my mind because I remember, thinking about, I need to start something. I need something that, because I was inspired by my performing arts group and the company and the teacher who took me under her wing, to become something and to grow past where my neighborhood was and where what society says I was supposed to be, which was either a gangbanger, a drug dealer, or dead or in jail. But it was because of my love and passion and me honoring the person that gave me a leg up and gave me her shoulders to stand on. I was blessed. And most people don't even know this, but I traveled the world actually working for companies that produced Broadway shows. So I got my first job professionally in the business when I was 15. And I walked into the theater and I asked the box office manager, I said, I love Cats. Cats is my all-time favorite show ever because it was the first show I saw on Broadway. And I said, I can't afford to come and see the show, but can I please just have a poster? And at 15, the owner of the company was like, you speak pretty good English. But it was only because of being in performing arts that I had gotten past my Ebonics and all of those things, even though I'm from Virginia, so I still speak a little country. But shout out to my VA people. But it was really that moment where I was 15 and I walked into the box office and they said, hey, would you like to answer the phones for $4 an hour? And I said, absolutely not. I said, no. I said, what I'd like to do is, if you would just be willing to give me tickets to go see the shows, I'll work as many hours as you'd like. Because it wasn't about the money, even though I didn't have money. And this is when you know that somebody is truly committed to or truly dedicated and really wanting to learn and embrace. And I did. For a year, I worked and I got to sit in the theater and sit, in the back at first. And I moved to the center. And then before you know it, I'm sitting in the front row watching Phantom of the Opera and watching all of these amazing, huge shows that the companies that I work for produced. And so going from having absolutely nothing to being and longing to go to the theater, just walk in the door, because I used to sneak in during intermission. Most people don't know this. This is just a little a tidbit for me. During intermission, all the people that come out and smoke or that don't like the show, you can sneak in, look for a chair, and go sit in their seat. That's what I used to do. And so for me to be able to sit in the theater and learn and watch all of these amazing producers and directors, and that was where I first saw Tyler Perry, who ended up being a wonderful influence in my life. And I was there when they built his first show, when they took him from homeless, and believing in him and looking at his script and helping him to grow from where he was. And so I saw all of this, not knowing ever that he would be as big as he is and some of the others. And so fast forwarding quite a bit, I moved to Las Vegas in 2000, and I was walking down the street and I saw Riverdance. And it said the company that I used to work for when I was a kid. Oh. And I walked to the box office with my 3 pair of jeans, which was all I had, and a few shirts. And they said, what are you doing here? And I said, well, I moved to Vegas because I believe that Vegas is where I'm supposed to be. And they said, great. And I started working and became the assistant director of entertainment. And I worked on all of the Broadway shows that came to the Aladdin Hotel and Casino. And the one thing that was consistent was that every single place that I was the only young Black person or the only young person of color that was there. I would sit in a theater full of people with gray hair and a ton of money, and I'd be the only dot sitting in the middle of this audience going, where is everybody else that looks like me? Well, the truth of the matter is they couldn't afford it. You know, there are, I mean, you know, it's quite expensive to have dance classes and acting classes, and it can become very taxing. And my mom couldn't afford. My mom was a single mother of 2 kids, and she couldn't afford to buy tickets and to send me. And so I started Broadway in the Hood 10 years ago because there is always somebody else out there that needs an opportunity, that may not have the funds to get that opportunity, but deserve it. And Broadway in the Hood is just about that, helping others open doors. And that's what Hood stands for.
I love
so inspiring.
Love
oh
it.
my
It's
goodness.
so inspiring. And as a kid who, I mean, we moved to Vegas in 1998, and my mom is a single mom as well. I mean, I'm an only child, so she had it a little bit easier. But I knew I wanted to do one of two. I wanted to perform, and I only had the opportunity to do theater because it was slightly cheaper than dance.
Right.
And so my mom, you know, and she was busting her butt, and I was able to get into Rainbow Company and all that. But it is really, really hard out there. It's hard to find theater, especially whenever you, like you said, you don't have the money, you don't have the access. And especially when a parent or, you know, that kid doesn't even know where to look.
Right.
So that was so big to me, that you provided something that as a child I would have jumped on in a heartbeat.
Well, and you know, it's easy to go in, but it's difficult to stay. And the thing is, because there's so much, I mean, we're completely about discipline. The same discipline when I ended up going to New York and performing and doing different things all over, that discipline. I mean, and I was blessed because at 15, when I was cussing people out and being the thug that I grew up to be, my boss would say, look, sit down. You're going to learn how to do this the right way. You're going to respect people. You're going to understand that, yes, this person may be a racist, but they're the owner of the theater. So either you can deal with them and learn how to deal with them, or you can get out. And so the same discipline, the same amount of accountability is held in the standards that were held to me and held to everybody who's ever been on Broadway or ever worked on film and TV. Those same standards of discipline are taught. And it's very interesting because when you deal with young people who may not have that discipline at home, you know, their parent may let them run all over top of them. But when you come here, you're going to respect me and you're going to respect each other. I call them sir and ma'am, and I expect them to call me Mr. Torrey. You know, you know, those little things that nobody sat down and taught me. You know, I remember the opening of Tyler Perry Studios. I was blessed to, you know, I was his assistant for many years, and I was blessed to open Tyler Perry Studios. And at the grand opening, you know, there's Miss Cicely Tyson on one side, who ended up being like my grandmother, and there's Oprah on the other side, and you know, just understanding, watching him where he was at that time, interact with them, and the level of respect that everyone has to have for everyone else, Black, white, fat, thin, gay, straight. And then when I had the moment to travel the world with Dr. Maya Angelou for 8 years, that was I mean, you know, just, but again, I'm still that same fat boy from Norfolk, Virginia, who loved to sing and eat and dance, and who was failing out in school, but was blessed with the opportunity for somebody to say, I'm going to help you out. I'm going to help you see how great you can be. And every single young person has that greatness within them. Every single person, they just need the opportunity.
I love it. And sorry, my camera is really...
Yes.
I was moving too much. I was having too much fun.
It's like, I will not autofocus today. No autofocus for you.
Okay, here we go. But yes, that's the one thing that I was telling Megan and our coworker is you immediately, whenever I met you, so just for the audience,
okay.
I met Tori during a random library production that I got suckered into through a family friend. I was in that place in my life. I got suckered into that thing. I wasn't even like really wanting to do theater. I mean, it was like one of those things where theater just, I was trying to give it up because at the time, personally, I had chosen to go into ministry, and I thought that, you know, that God didn't want me to do that, and it was all about him. But he was giving me hints over the couple of years that no, he still wanted me to be a part of the theater. So he was like dropping like theaters on me where I wasn't asking; they were just coming. And that was the one that was one of the last ones till I got it, where I was like, oh, you still want me to do this? Because I didn't ask for it. It was a family friend who was just like, hey, could you be in the show? And I was like, I guess. And so anyway, the show that we were in, it was called Troubled Waters, and it had 2 runs. The first run was without Tori, but the second run, they brought him in. And that's the one thing that I got so excited. When I met, he immediately commanded respect. And it was something that we weren't used to with the other director and stuff. And so I was like, oh, this is like LVA. This is like Mr. Connor. This is like Edwards. Yes.
Yes.
Now this is real serious, because I knew that he was serious, even though this was some library production. I love that he demanded us to see it as a show, as a big show. It didn't matter where it was. Who cares if only 5 people were going to be there? We were going to act like it's going to be 1,000 people. It didn't matter that we were in the West Las Vegas library. Who cares? We're going to act like it's the Smith Center. We're going to, go big. And I was so, that level of respect, Tori, that you have, and that appreciation for the arts.
That's it.
That's not often taught anymore.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of young people get into this, not only young people actually, just actors in general, get into this entitlement where they come in and I'm the actor, or I'm the whatever, respect me. And it's like, whoa.
Absolutely.
This is a collaboration effort. We have to respect the art as one another. Yes. So anyway.
Absolutely. Hold on. Can I say something really quick? Okay. So, people ask me to come in and do stuff all the time. But they have to know that when I come in, I'm coming in with the passion of the shoulders that I stand on. And so for me, when I walk in the door, I'm bringing Sammy Davis Jr. and Ella Fitzgerald and Pearl Bailey and all of those people who had to go through the back door. And my job is to help those people who are there now understand that those people went through this so that we can do what we do. But can I tell you something funny about what you just said?
Yes.
About the West Las Vegas Library Theater. And I'm not sure whether you even know this. Most people don't. Have you seen the movie Jingle Jangle?
Yes.
Absolutely. Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Yes. Amazingly phenomenal. The gentleman that wrote and directed Jingle Jangle actually had his first play that he ever did in the world at the West Las Vegas Library Theater.
Wait.
His name is David Talbert, and he also did other things as well. He did, he has plays all over the country. He has all kinds of different things. So you never know where and who's watching and what there's never a small show. Every show that I go direct shows at elementary schools on fun. I love it because that's where the person who's going to be inspired, New York is New York and I love directing shows there as well, but those people are already, I don't want to say jaded, but already at a point where they feel like this is the way things have to be. Well, the truth of the matter is you make it the greatest thing that you can possibly make it for what you have. So
yes,
that is
preach.
Oh my god, so amazing.
Throw a shoe.
When did you kind of make this? Is like I have another question. I have
sure.
several questions.
I know we kind of went off our questions.
I know, but I have all the questions. When did you make your transition from kind of performer to director, and how did you do that?
Well, it was in the Performing Arts Repertory Theater in high school. And that was the joy, was there was a TV show back in the days, you all are too young, but there was a TV show called Romper Room. And the TV show Romper Room, there was a young lady with her magic mirror, and she was the director of our performing arts organization. White woman, Jewish, very much so. She had been Miss Virginia and all kinds of different things, but and a wonderful educator. But she chose to put those things aside to become a director of this performing arts group that was based in the schools that were the rough schools. And we loved her, and she loved us, and she gave us every opportunity. And I always sat in her office. I was that one little nosy kid. She called me Snoopy. And every year for my birthday, she would go to New York and go to Macy's and get me a Snoopy stuffed animal. So every year I would have Snoopy. Every year she gave me a Snoopy. And not only that, she brought me clothes, because there were moments that I didn't have clothes. I went to school and I used to wash up in the sink. And she became my guardian angel, really, at the end of the day. But we were doing several productions, and I always loved to kind of sit back and watch, and, she would make me step up to the plate. My first show was a show called The Me Nobody Knows, and they gave me the biggest solo in the show. And then I went on from there to do many, many other shows. But I remember my first direction, the first time I ever directed a show. I can't remember exactly what it was. Hold on, let me think. I was the assistant director for Annie. And that was amazing. So I learned how to direct and learned about directing under her. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say probably about 17 years old was when I first directed my first show. And then I went on from there to direct tours of shows, directed the national tour of Five Guys Named Mo, directed many, many other shows all over the country. And I love it. And then producing. I'm in love with producing. So, yes.
You can't get more inspiring. I mean, your whole talk. There's some things that I didn't even know about you, where I was already like on the floor, like Tori. Now I'm like, oh my gosh, like
blessed.
I mean, your story
truly blessed.
Is so inspiring. And I love that you respect your story. You didn't let your story wear you. You wore your story. You're owning. I love it. Oh my gosh.
Because it is too, right. Just being in this industry in general can sometimes be really emotionally difficult and kind of weigh on your heart a lot. Because there's a lot of kind of up and down with jobs and things like that. So it's really so infectious to see your joy surrounding what you do, and like your perseverance through everything that you've gone through is just awesome. It's just incredible. Awesome.
Well, it's love. It is sincere. When I can wake up every single day and know that I can be inspired and inspire someone else, that's the important thing. Like, so many people judge and so many people hate. And I mean, there's many reasons to do that. I mean, we can think of a reason to hate that sign that you have in the background, Rise. And, I mean, they're like, or the color shirt that you have on, like, there's always, but when you look beyond all of those things, and when you get to the bare root of the fact that we are human beings, that we are alive, that we can walk, that I can see your beautiful faces, that I can talk and express to you how I feel and disagree and agree to disagree. Yes. That's the thing. And to respect the fact that you may be Republican and I may be Democrat, or you may be Hispanic, or whatever the case may be. But at the root of everything, we are human. And because we are human, and the arts as humans, everybody can listen to music. It may not be the same type of music, but everyone can listen to some music and appreciate that it moves them in some way, shape, or form. And so,
I
agree.
Love it.
Totally agree.
Oh my goodness.
Going a little bit back to Broadway in the Hood.
Yes.
So we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but we talk about. I feel like especially now, right? The past year with the shutdown, everyone's been talking a lot more about diversity in theater. And how there needs to be kind of more of it all over the place. And there's a lot of talk of kind of, okay, well, that starts in the boardroom. Like, you have to have diversity on your boards, and you have to have diversity in your creative team. But I think it goes farther back than that. Like, you need to have diversity in education and in programs,
right?
Like arts programs, and especially things that
are not so easily accessible to so many people
right.
of different financial backgrounds. Can you tell us a little bit about the way Broadway in the Hood is kind of structured, and some of your students, how like their schedule is when you're with them? Like, what do they do and what do they learn?
Absolutely. First off, diversity starts at home. Understanding and educating every single child to learn to accept and embrace diversity, difference. And that's where it starts. So I don't have to bring to my boardroom or even to my board diversity because it's already there. That's something that's, I mean, you know, there are diversity classes that teach you that, oh, you have to have 5 whites and 6 blacks and 2 Hispanics and a half Asian, you know, but beyond that, it really is something that is taught at home, and that diversity as it relates to Broadway in the Hood is you come in and you audition, and the person that's best suited for the role, regardless of, first off, it's your passion. You walk in the door. The moment that you walk into the door to audition for a Broadway in the Hood show or summer camp, which we do a free summer camp every year for between 50 and 100 kids, every single summer, singing, dancing, acting, technical theater, lighting and sound, all of that good stuff, costume design, every single year for the past 5 years, through hell or high water, we've been able to do it. And you walk in the door and all types, whether we audition, because we do auditions at homeless shelters, we do auditions at battered women's shelters, we do, you know, in the grocery store, wherever the case may be, you walk in and you do exactly what I did, which is all I want is to just be a part and open my mind enough to grow past where I am. You know, we may be doing Once on This Island and you may not be a singer. I'll say, let me hear you sing. And you'll go, but I don't sing. And you'll go, but I don't sing. And I said, may I hear you sing? And then you'll sing Happy Birthday. And it may be the worst thing in the world. But because you sang, because you tried, because you put forth an effort, that alone is worth more to me than a person that can come and sing to the gods and have the worst attitude and think that they're a diva. And so as it relates to diversity, Broadway in the Hood is a family of people who walk in the door broken, battered, and bruised in many different ways, but leave inspired and educated to know that they can accomplish anything, because our rehearsals are nonstop. The choreographers, if I'm teaching a number, it's nonstop. The choreographers, the teachers, the instructors aren't going to take no for an answer. We literally challenge every single person to push themselves to the limit. And by the time they get to curtain call, the tears that are running down their eyes because they've realized, I never dreamt that I could do this. It's just the beginning. It's just the beginning of everything. I mean, so many, that's the way it all starts, is just believing in yourself.
Wow. So good.
Has the pandemic kind of affected your outreach for that at all?
Absolutely. So last summer, so when COVID hit, we had just finished, or we were doing a tour, a high school tour of this Broadway show, American Son. I don't know if you've heard of it. An amazing, amazing, amazing piece that deals with interracial marriage. It deals with how to deal with police officers. It deals with how young people need to interact with police, how they need to interact with their parents. Well, Broadway in the Hood mounted a production back in January of last year, and we toured it through high schools here in Las Vegas. About 5,000 high school students got a chance to see it completely free of charge. We went to their school and we took the show there. And it was amazing because you see these young people sitting in the theater. We don't want to see this shit. Excuse my language. We don't want, man, it's going to be some boring bull, blah, 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 blah. And from the moment the play, now it's a difference in a musical and in a play. The moment the play started, from the moment it started until the curtain call, the kids were sitting on the edge of their seats, responding back. Oh, no, hell no. You know, like they were so engaged. And by the time we got to the end of the show, of course, we did a talk back session, and the kids would stand up and go, you know what? Thank you so much. Like, I never realized that police were human beings. Like, we literally had kids that said that. We never realized, I understand now why my mother says be home at this time. This will make me think a little bit more about how I interact with the police. I never realized that an interracial couple separately has to go through things that, anyway, I mean, it was so powerful. And we had just signed a contract right as COVID had hit to do the show for 100,000 high school students throughout the country. We had just, right. And so being free of charge to them, being able to walk into their high school theater or auditorium or cafeteria, to be able to sit down and for an hour and 15 minutes, watch a piece that could completely change their lives. We had signed the contracts, everything were good, and COVID hit. So that was the first change. I was devastated. So for 2 weeks, I said, forget it. I'm not doing this anymore. I give up. God, why? Why did you do this? Like, really? And then I knew around March is usually when we prepare for our summer camp. And I was like, okay, I'm not doing summer camp this year. I couldn't bring myself to get out of the bed. And I received a call from one of our Broadway in the Hood parents about 2 weeks into my depression. And I was literally depressed. I received a call from a parent saying that their child, they could tell, had been writing stuff and doing different things. And they were very afraid that their kid was going to commit suicide. And the kid had been with us for about 6 years. But because they couldn't go to school, because they couldn't interact, they couldn't communicate with friends, I instantly got on Zoom, got on the phone, called everybody and said, we're starting class tomorrow. And we did Zoom class 3 times a week. They had to have their script. They did Shakespeare. They did dance. They did acting. They did vocals 3 times a week. And I said, okay, God, what do you want me to do? What can we possibly do? We can't get together. We can't do in-person singing and dancing and this, that, and the other. So we did a TV and film class for 50 kids all summer, where they had a chance, a little bit at a time, to come in, meet, learn how to work cameras, learn how to edit. They produced a weekly TV show called Lit Las Vegas TV that they did, some in studio, some on Zoom, and it was amazing. And then at the end of our summer camp this year, summer camp 2020, we recorded our first short film in person during the pandemic called The French Defense, which is a phenomenal piece about interaction, about the love of the arts. There's singing, there's dancing, there's some phenomenal acting. It stars the young people. It was directed, produced. I mean, they did help with the editing. It's truly, truly an amazing piece. And those kids are doing absolutely amazing now. And so there you have it.
Thank you for sharing that. I know that's sometimes difficult to talk about. So thank you for sharing not only that part of your story, but also of that young person's story.
And everybody goes through it. There's not depression and anxiety. And, this time, there's so much suicide going on. And we've dealt with that. We've dealt with not only young people who have had friends in Broadway in the Hood who've committed suicide, but we've actually had parents who've committed suicide of our Broadway in the Hood students. And so it is so prevalent. And we have to know that we have to love those families. We have to love those people and help understand that we can do only so much to prevent and help, but we can do everything to restore and to heal. So
I love it. Amazing. I love it. There's one more question on our thingy, and then I have one last question too. But the question that is written is beautiful, and I'm excited. But anyway, theater offers young people lifelong skills, and the continued conversation of defunding the arts programs like Broadway in the Hood become more imperative and important than ever. What needs to happen to get Broadway in the Hood in every major city in America?
It will happen, first off. That's number one. So we have to speak things as though they were. So we have to speak things into existence. So it's already done. What it's going to take is the organization being completely organized, and one or two or a corporation with the vision to understand that the arts, theater can change and heal, and that person with the finances and the means to be able to make it happen, or the ability to write grants and to be able to access those people within communities throughout the country. And for everyone's ego to be put aside. Because if it means happening without Tori, then so be it. I would be willing to turn it over and say, hey, let's figure out how this person can be able to make it happen throughout the country, still keeping the same standards, because that's the key. The standards is what has brought us this far. And so we have to understand and have to be like-minded with those people who love the arts. There is a Broadway in the Hood in every single state. It may not be named Broadway in the Hood. It may be the little theater of ... or this, that, and the other. It's already there. It's just a matter of understanding that we have to take what we have and offer it to the world. So often the arts put major dollar signs on the arts. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's no way that I could have afforded to have seen a Broadway show had it not been for the teacher who raised the money for me to go. And because of that, sometimes we have to give or gift or bless in order to reach, you know, even, I mean, we, you know, for those of us who go to church, you go to church and, you know, now in some places they say, you got to give $100. Well, that makes me intimidated. Mm-hmm. And that makes me feel like I can't go to this church because I can't give $100. Right. Well, the truth of the matter is that the person that's sitting there may not have $100 today, Tyler Perry, but is a billionaire now. Yeah. And can give everything. And so I think that it's important for us all to understand that we have the ability to have Broadway in the Hood throughout the country. Sorry.
No, you're good. And did we, this is an added question because I just wanted to make sure, did we even talk about the successes of Broadway in the Hood? I know we talked about what it is, but we cannot in this conversation without noting the successes of this company and this program.
Oh my goodness. Wow, the successes of Broadway in the Hood is so many, but for me, and I can only give you my opinion of what the successes are. It's the Romeo Lopez, who now will be graduating from not just high school, but UNLV, who said, Mr. Torrey, there's no way I can ever go to college and study theater. No, Romeo, you can go to university and you can study theater and you can graduate with a degree and look at going on now to get your master's degree. It's Tessie Thomas and Jordan Torrey who went on to Broadway to star in The Lion King on Broadway. It's, oh my God, and many, many other TV shows as well. It's the kid, Nakala Naidu, who is my heart, who will be graduating from high school this year, who's been with my baby for almost 8 years now. It's the 8-year-old Melissa, who started with us when she was 8 and did our first Broadway in the Hood show, who's now graduating high school. It's the young lady who I can't name her name that was a prostitute on the Las Vegas Strip, who I walked into the Nevada Partnership for the Homeless Youth and she said, well, why are you here? And I said, I'm here today because of you, and I'm here for you. And as long as you trust the process and trust God, and as long as you know that you can grow past where you are, you are going to be amazing, who has done amazing things, not just in entertainment, but in health and fitness and in wellness. It's Cameron Miller, who has gone on to be now Assemblyman Cameron C.H. Miller.
I thought it was him on your website. I was like, is that Cameron?
C.H. Miller, who is now Assemblyman C.H. Miller for the state of Nevada. It's so many others, thousands, not just Broadway in the Hood Vegas, but Broadway in the Hood Virginia, Broadway in the Hood North Carolina, and soon to be Broadway in the Hood New York, which is what we're working on with Mr. Ben Vereen. It's the shoulders, the people that have believed in not just the arts, but have believed that the opportunity and giving those opportunities. It's moving into the Smith Center, the only theater company to have 6 full seasons at the Smith Center, producing 12 wonderful sold out shows there at the only legitimate theater in Las Vegas. And we have a brand new season that we will be announcing, our 2021-2022 Broadway in the Hood season, our summer camp that will have 100 kids from this community. Our first show is Labor Day weekend. And those are the successes. But for me, the success is knowing that every day I wake up and I'm blessed to continue to do what I love, whether there's $1 in the bank account or whether there's $100,000. Every single penny goes to continue to help others open doors. And all you have to do is continue to find out what you love, what your passion is, what you care about the most, and continue to help. Continue to give to that. Continue to support that. So
you made my makeup.
You made my makeup. I need some makeup. Makeup.
God started with me. I don't even know much makeup, but I'm like, oh, my makeup. But wow, yes, and that was going to be my last question on my end. I don't know if Megan has any other ones, but my last question, because I am beyond inspired. I was already inspired. I even had a dream.
Okay. I had a dream. Yes,
I did.
Dr. King, speak.
I had a dream years ago, and I'm scared to tell you, but I had a dream that that I was working with you. So,
amen.
But my question is, how can we get involved? How can people get involved? How? I want to know for myself, but I'm
that
sure
was literally that was going to be the question. That was going to be the question I asked you. I was like, this podcast, like, it may only reach 20 people.
It's all good.
Reach, 100 people.
It will reach
a person.
It will reach 200 people. We're claiming it right now. 200 or more.
But say how can people help? How can they contact you? What can they do?
www.broadwayinthehood.org is our website. It needs to be revamped. It needs to be revised. Absolutely, most definitely. But we do the best we can. So that's number one. We need a web host. We need somebody to go on in there and make it happen. No, but you can reach us at 702-482-8777. Again, that's 702-482-8777. Administration wise, we need administrative help. We need people I need a secretary. I honestly am looking for someone who doesn't want to be an actress, because we've tried that. We're looking for someone who understands organizing paperwork and the ability to care enough to want to help young people who and me, who just really need organizing. And as we get ready for our season, we need vocal coaches and dance teachers and people who want to lend their talents in that way. I need a set designer for all of our shows. We have people that are blessings to us. We have very, very little. Our summer camp is usually about $70,000, between $65,000 and $70,000 every single year. And around this time of the year is where we start begging and start asking and every single year, as I said, we've always been blessed to get what we need. And so we need grant writers. We need people who understand how to do those things. For me, it's, do I stop, completely shut down the organization and figure out how to write a grant? There's somebody out there that's listening that knows how to do that, that's waiting, and looking for a way to help. And so There you have it. I mean, that's really it. Can I ask you all some questions? All right, I still got 5 more minutes before my interview is supposed to be over.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead.
This is the speed round. What's your favorite Broadway musical, Megan?
Oh.
Come on. Go for it.
All right, so we had an episode about it.
Go.
I have like favorite ones right now, but like my favorite of all time, only because that was the show that got me wanting to do theater, was Phantom of the Opera.
Phantom of the Opera. Very good. Very good. Selena, quick question for you. What is your favorite Broadway star?
Oh, Lord.
And why? That's important.
And why?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I am on the train right now, choo-choo, of Lin-Manuel Miranda. Not
Absolutely.
only for his acting and singing, because he's decent, but because he is a go-getter. He is one that'll do it. It doesn't matter how long. He makes opportunities for himself. You know what? You don't want to put a Hispanic somewhere. I will put a Hispanic.
We're gonna make it happen.
Fine.
Absolutely.
Make it happen. So right now he is a great influencer of mine.
Megan, one show that you would like to do that you've never done.
Ooh.
How much time do you have?
Right. Your top favorite. Let's go. Top 2. I'll give you 2.
Okay. All right. Top 2, I would say, I would love to do, I would actually love to do, I'm going to go a legit show. I would say I'd love to be Eliza Doolittle one day.
Okay.
Never a thing.
All right. Okay.
I would also love to be, you know how I really want to be? I want to be Persephone in Hadestown.
Ooh. Okay. So let's talk about Hadestown. Andre DeShields. I don't know if you got to see it. Well, baby.
Yes, I did.
Woo. Andre DeShields.
With him.
My goodness. So I got a chance to, Mr. Ben Vereen was blessed. He blessed me with tickets to go see the show last year. And I promise you, I walked in and was just blown away. Just blown, absolutely. And I'm a big Andre DeShields fan because of, obviously, The Wiz and Ain't Misbehavin'. But the show itself and the writing and the tech and just everything about that show was just absolutely amazing. And so, all right, Persephone, I can see you doing it.
I haven't seen that.
What about you? All right, Selena, so what about you? What shows...
I'm not on the actor train yet. Megan's trying to put me back on the actor train.
Okay.
I'm more on the director side now.
Okay, let's go for it.
I'm trying to learn
directing
and writing.
Okay.
So if I could be on like anybody's team.
Okay.
If I could be on a team.
Speak it.
Or direct or like something. Then I think now I'm thinking, what would I want to direct? Oh my gosh, that's a big question. Wow. Well, I have not directed a musical yet, so that would be scary.
Ooh, okay.
That's fun.
Yes.
I think I would have to go with something dear to my heart, starting with, which would have to be either Oliver or Sound of Music. I know it's old. But
nice. Look at you, Miss Traditional. Yes, Miss Classic. Question for you. What state are you in right now?
Right now, I am in Nevada, but I'm in Reno. We're about to move to Texas, though.
Gotcha. There's great theater in Texas. Excellent theater in Texas. Absolutely.
But I'm willing to travel.
I know that's right. Okay. Well, the great part about it is I don't want to give away all your stuff online, but we're going to be doing American Son in Texas. And so it looks like it's either Houston or Dallas, and it'll be in the next 2 months because we're remounting the show. And so I'd love for you to come out. I'd love to do a workshop with you. Depends on when you live there. When you get there. But I'd love to do a workshop with you. I'd love to have some actors come together and we just do a directing workshop and as far as that's concerned. So that would be amazing. That would be amazing.
On your wings. Let me be under your wing. Let me be.
You're so silly.
Protege.
Oh no, you got to get mean first. Trust and believe. Everybody that's ever worked with me will tell you I'm a butthead, but I work hard.
That's what I was telling Kristen and Megan, because we're used to Robert Connor. We're used to Glenn Edwards, who they were I always used to say they used to make Simon Cowell look like a puppy.
Absolutely.
You think that's mean? That's not mean.
Right. Okay.
It's mean for a purpose, and that's what we were talking about on one of our episodes. It's not mean to be mean. It's because they care. And to me, if you're quiet, oh no. Or if you're not yelling at me, oh no.
Right. That
means like you've lost the passion. And so
the passion, exactly. This has been absolutely, positively amazing. I'm so sorry I had to do it from my car, but I love your platform. I adore what you all are doing. This brings me so much energy and so much life. There's no doubt that it's going to grow into amazing things, and just continue to do what you're doing the way you're doing it, and never be afraid to reach out to anybody. Pick who you want to call and find a way to make it happen, because that's how I've been blessed to get and do what I do. There's nobody greater than God. So if I can talk to God, then damn it, I can talk to you.
I love it. I'm feeling that.
Right.
So
absolutely.
All those people that we said, can we get on the phone, including Lynn? Let's just call
So here's the deal. Last year, one of my kids, who was my heart, or maybe it was 2 years ago now, this kid went through hell and back, and he is one of my absolute favorite kids. His family, he'd grown up in homeless shelters, and his family ended up getting back with his family, and they ended up moving him to New York to go live in other homeless shelters. And he was a junior in high school when they just up and moved him out. And he moved to New York in his senior year and lived in homeless shelters during his senior year. And it blew my mind that he was able to graduate, living in homeless shelters, going through what he went through, the abuse. And so I reached out, and Lin-Manuel sent him a letter and all kinds of stuff. And it was Lynn directly sent him a letter and sent him all kinds of stuff, congratulating him personally. So listen, words can't express the fact that for me to sit here and talk to you, growing up the way I grew up, very, very little education, hating school, all of those things, but yet and still I sat at the White House with former First Lady Obama, that I've traveled, that I've been blessed to travel with Dr. Maya Angelou. And people think that you say those things bragging, but I say those things because I am you. Damn it, I'm no better, and neither is Obama. Neither are those people. And I hate to say that. They're wonderful. They've just been able to believe bigger, to think bigger, and to trust bigger. To trust that if you write those names on a list, that those things will happen, that those things can happen. You just have to be strong. You have to work hard enough, and you have to be faithful enough in your belief to make it happen. My battery's dying. I love y'all. Be blessed.
I need to text you. I'll text you more about Tori. I'll text you more about the
Absolutely. The coming to yeah. We got it. Be blessed, be safe to your audience. Thank you so much for listening to Boring Me. Thank you. Y'all be blessed. Peace.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. Thank you again, Torrey Russell from Broadway in the Hood, for speaking to us. You are incredible. We so enjoyed the conversation. We thank you so much for your time.
Yes, thank you so much, Tori. We love you. We'll be calling you. And like he said, guys, if you want to help in any way, shape, or form, you can go to the website. It's in our description. And for the podcast and for the YouTube, it's in the description. So you can go ahead and check that out and see how you could help.
Thank you, guys. See you next week. Bye.